All right, all you devils out there, happy Friday. Sam here with you. Let's see, it's a little after noon here on Friday the 9th of December. Get an update here on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Not a dramatic amount of movement since last Friday here, but we'll take a peek and just review a few things. So I'm starting out here. I'm over on the Brave New Coin Liquid Index so we can get our full history. I have no reason to be changing this count just yet. Still sticking to the idea from our all-time lows that we've gone 1, 2, pardon me. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Seeking that pivot down here, nothing says it couldn't be in right now, though it would be a technical pattern here that would be, for an Elliottician, I think a little challenging to get your arms around here. But we've got a contender here for this to be coming down via this A, B, and looking for a C, golden zone, putting the 50 in the golden zone, reasonable target. That's the high probability zone for our 2. So it seems to be, we're certainly on track for a potential pivot there. That's all it ever is a potential pivot. Now, we have our 4-year cycle here, so it's hard not to notice that. Just going back here, and then below here. Oh, what have I got here? So I've got this is it's called. Here, as you can see them. So this is called. It's a Bollinger Band %B. So I don't actually have to have the Bollinger Bands on the chart here to know where we are in relation to 1, 2 standard deviations. So I can see here we went outside of 2 standard. Well, that would be the FTX debacle low. But you can see it's fairly consistent, particularly on these halvings, as we get down to these extremes and then come back. So there's the FTX pivot as we've retraced. Do we need one more tap down that low? Oh, and then this is kind of a variation on a TTM squeeze. I prefer the histogram, but I still get squeezes, Keltner and traditional squeezes in this. We've just had one prior to the FTX meltdown. We had a squeeze and then it drove it down. But it takes Bollinger Bands outside of 2 standard deviations. Then we get a little reversal here. Now potentially per this count, here all we're doing, let's zoom in there, is just we're getting the little kickback here that would potentially lead us into a 4. Now, remember, this is going to be this is delayed by a day. But if indeed we've got if we've got a B, we can do this through a 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially 5 there. There's no requirement that we come to golden zone. You can see a path here, put us in here at 14 and change. So some think that I shouldn't say it that way. It's not uncommon for a major pivot, after, we put this pivot in up here at our all-time high over a year ago. So for this entire long winding correction, the anticipation would be some sort of a capitulation low. So maybe you get something down here that, again, we don't know what would trigger it. But that's always something to be mindful of. And that may be the kind of event that would really spark your close attention to the potential pivot there. Remember, we do not ever need to, there's never a need to try and pick the turn, ever. All right, most successful traders will tell you if I've got to move that far here, where they're going to focus on making money is right there. Right. Well, you could think of it in Elliott context, right? So you think of our purple belt, right? So we're only tracking 3s and Cs. So, all right, if we put that together in the context of an impulse, right, what are we trying to get? The 3. Right, that's why we do it that way. Hang on. All right, so let's wrap this up here. Just maybe teachable moment there. All right, so can we get this done? Well, if this is a 1, right? So I've been kind of leaning into my preference would be, right? So if we can. Preference. Who gives a shit about my preference? But as an analyst here, as I look at this coming down here, I would prefer to have that all self-contained. So whether it ends up being a sharp double or we get her done through this kind of unusual ABC with this big extension in the 1, I just think it's a cleaner count if we can do it that way, because we can get the 1 in here. Now, be mindful of the fact that if this ends up being incorrect, right, and we have to put it over here, there's still shit. We still have until this is overlapped. We still have. Nobody likes that count. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mention it reluctantly, but we still have a few scenarios here. But my preference would be, and again, just as a technical analyst, if this is all self-contained as my correction, then I can come back here and work through this and go, okay, now I can get my impulse with a little more clarity. Here's the correction. Then you lean in a little bit harder to the idea that, oh, it's 1, 2, 1, 2. And, you know, as we were just saying, where's the money ball, right? We're looking for a 3 because I've shown this many times. 3 is going to be up here. Well, you know, that's bull porn. So, right, higher than our all-time high. Let's put it that way. Okay, so that's it. So we get the long-term picture, and we can see the pocket down here is really 14 to. What are we talking there? So we're really the pocket here. Let's call it 16 to 10. Man, it's a pretty wide range. No doubt, right? I don't say that flippantly, like, oh shit, we're you know. Well, I put it this way: if we come down to golden zone, I think I said that last week. I'm going to need a bigger boat because the opportunity there, I think, could be. You know, this is my opinion, right? So just take it as that. That's generational. Well, certainly in my lifetime, I don't anticipate ever getting an opportunity to buy anything like this in the remainder of my life. So that's. I really don't say that to be hyperbolic, right? I truly believe that. If we can buy this thing at between 10 and 12 grand, I damn near sell the house to do it. Okay, all right. So not hype on that. I really don't mean it as hype. That's genuinely what I believe. All right, now I have my ass up my own head of my own ass. But that's what I see, and that's what I believe, and that's how I'm going to trade it. Okay, so that said, let's go down to a trading chart because there's not a whole lot more we can do here other than there's a whole lot of hurry up and wait. Right, we're going to need to see. Well, certainly we're going to need some whales to start participating here, and some of the on-chain analysis suggesting whales are not accumulating at the moment, and that they're selling, not buying. And so we need to see that trend reverse, and certainly it will be reflected in the price action. So let's go from this weekly here, this long term. Just let's keep an eye on things out here. Let's go down to our trading chart. So I'm over here now, down to a daily on BitGet. Now, of course, right, I mentioned BitGet as they are our sponsor here, and if you're interested in that exchange, which we like a lot after really looking at what they were doing closely, a link to open an account down there is directly underneath this. You'll see it mentioned as a sponsor for this video, and they do a really nice job. And additionally, you'll get your choice of either 10% in tether of whatever your deposit amount is, or we will comp you 1 free month of our educational membership. That's a $199 value. So some incentives there if you're in the market for a new exchange, or just willing to consider diversifying into another exchange, or interested in some of our content, or just that 10% bonus. Okay, so there's my promo for the week. So let me show you where we are here. So this is trying to get a handle on the potential diagonal here. Now I should probably just do this again. Let's get that out of there. So I'll just redo it. Okay, here's our all-time high. Can we do this? A, B. Well, if we're going to do it through a diag, it's going to be a series of 3s, right? So now let's be very clear about the fact that this is maybe the 4th or 5th count that we thought along the way, right? It started out, right? I thought it was a triangle. I thought we were going to go 3, A, B, C, D, E, and keep going, right? And then down we go. Fed interest rate policy changes, FTX, just the litany of bad news for crypto has been severe. And as I said earlier, we're now 13 months into this correction. Is that right? Yeah, I think it is right. Right, we put it in here in November of 21. That's a long road all the way down. Now, can we get it done this way? It's not that radically unusual, right? 1, 2, 3, looking for the 4 into the 5. It's not crazy. Like, oh my God, yeah, we got it. Like, your mind. Okay, we'll see. We'll see I mean, there are certainly other counts here that are more bearish. We start breaking the golden zone here, and I'd be revisiting that as well. I don't think we need to do that yet. If anything, I think the fact that Bitcoin's held up as well as it has, given the FTX debacle, is pretty remarkable. That's just my opinion. Other people think, oh, shit, it's just a matter of time before it's at $3,000. I certainly have seen plenty of those comments and that analysis. So that's what makes a market, right? Difference of opinion. So now as we sit here, let's go to this 8 hour here and tee this up a little bit more. I'm going to put this back on in a sec. So how do we get this done? Well, this is a little tricky. Right? So again, if this is going to play as a diag, we're looking for a series of threes. So the 1, the 2. Right? I went through this last week. Here I can get a leading diag into an A. Here's a 3 into a B. This is a little bit of a squeeze to try and get that to play ball. But 1, 2, 3, you got some sort of A, B, C, D, E triangle into the 4. One last little drive down gives us it's just that. It's a candidate. It's a candidate for a 3 down here via this A, B, C gives us our 3. Now working back towards that 4. So why do I have this outlined here? Because and originally I did this over in Ethereum, which we'll get to in a second. But they're looking at, okay, well, if Bitcoin's going to dig itself out of here, well, boy, do we have a whole lot of resistance to get through. And what does that look like? Well, starting with the most obvious thing, which is, okay, where's the algo? What did it do last? Well, if we're just going to go from this last pivot, which of course was an algo pivot, right? We've all seen this, right? So it's 50 to the tick. We get that. All right, so we know they use that. So of course we're going to use this. So swing down to our low, coming back, right? Here's a candidate for the 4. Now, if we're using the geometry, you look there and you go, oh boy, right on the golden zone. Wouldn't that be right where you'd anticipate it? But then additionally here, just kind of looking at this whole area just looks like, hey, wait a minute, there's some resistance here. Let's see what the volume profile looks like. So rather than just do visible range here, I'm just using the, oh shit, what do they call the name of that? Where I can just choose it. I know they've got a name for it here. I can't think of it. What the hell do they call that? Oh, Jesus, what do they call that? Christ, volume profile. Fixed range, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so we'll notice this as we come back here. We got a nice little air pocket here where it was really, because we went through it, right? FTX, we went through so fast. Well, you got a little air pocket here. So if we're going to come back, where's it going to hit the resistance? Well, note here, and that's all I did was just draw where the value area of this range, of all of this, where does that look like? Well, look where that lines up. You'll note I've got an alert here just on the other side of the 50 because if we're coming up into this pocket, and boy, I want to be aware of that. So given what we know about the algorithm and how it moves, let's do it this way. I think it was this one here. All right, if knowing that, I can get this here. Now, but since I've got that on there, I'm going to take this off so I can get that pivot. Okay, knowing how this algorithm moves. Oh, shit, where was it? Right here. Okay, golden zone, 50. All right, we don't know. We don't know which one it's going to be. But we can certainly look. We can use some of our TA skills to say, okay, do we have the ingredients there for a pivot? Well, we might be doing similar. Oh, shit, I've got nothing underneath. We might be doing similar kind of things. And I'm just looking at this going, okay, well, let's put a regression channel on it, right? Let's get 2 standard deviations on either side. If I'm going to grind my way up here, what is it going to look like here? So if there was a little kick here, well, this is going to rotate over here. So take that off just so you get the idea. It's a nice way when you're staying self-contained within that tight range to watch it come up here. If we hit that pivot, this would be an area of definite interest. Now, you'd want to see it. So as we look at it right now, it looks like, oh, could that be 3, 4, 5? Well, that wouldn't make sense. What would you be looking for here? Remember, we're doing this in a series of 3s. Could that be A working on a B? Maybe the B's in. Maybe there's another leg down. That's what we'd like to see. That's what gives you some conviction. So if we come into that right here, knowing, right? Well, let's take this off. Knowing that that's going to be potentially some resistance there here, just off of also all of the trading volume that's there. And then we've got a nice big fat supply zone up here off of this. And I've got a weekly and a daily right here at the 50 as it comes back, as we come into that golden zone. So I mean, this is going to be a critical point. Now for a bull, if we kick through here, well, what are you going to start to think? Or that's going to change the count, and you're going to start to reconsider the idea that maybe we've got a double here, and we're going to put in some sort of an X wave. If this goes into an impulse, right? Then you'd be backtracking, say, wait a minute, maybe this is A, B, C into a secondary X, and then we got to come back down A, B, C. Oh shit! Can I show you that here without throwing you off here? I may not be able to. Here, let me get this out of here. So this potentially, I guess we'd do it this way. We'd have A, B, C, right? And then the C would be over here, and you'd be thinking W, X, A, B, C, right? Coming down lower. We don't need to go there yet. Well, let's see, right? So before it can do this, so look what it has to do. So first it has to break the sell side algo, right? Then there'll be a series of algos it's going to have to break. You got all this supply up here. You got more supply here. This is a heavy lift for the market to do that. So, right, I mean, why you want to be prepared for that. So what's the alternate? What if it goes into an impulse here? You don't want to be scrambling, going, oh, fuck, oh, shit, I don't know what to do now. Right, you want to have that teed up, or at least some sense in your mind of like, oh, well, if it's doing that, then I can relabel according to that price action. As it sits right now, there is just simply no reason. You trade these until they fail, right? So why would you? There's just no reason to not be looking for an opportunity to short it there. None, right? So I mean, well, okay, but let's put it. Oh shit! What is this? They added this fucking heart thing? What the hell? Oh, Jesus, there we go. Oh, that's not what I want. Short. Okay, so let's consider that. Right, now we don't know where, I'm just kind of eyeballing here, so let's split the difference. Stop on the other side of that. I don't want to get wicked out, so I'm going to give that a little bit of room. I got a big fair value gap right here. So if I can get this here for that, again, just using the first target, certainly we could go second. If I get something like this, I'm down here at 14 and change. I'd be looking for that to come down. Now remember, we'd be looking for this to finish in a 3, not a 5. Well, you could go 5, 3, 5, but the broad structure, right, we'd be looking for a 3. Now, what would sweeten that all the more? Let's see if I can tee it up. All right, well, you get your daily double here. Oh shit, I took that thing. Well, you get the idea. We'd come back golden zone between the 50 and the golden zone, and we'd have a secondary target down here. So you'd have 2 targets. If we get it this way, oh shit, come here. Can I do that? What did I do there? There we go. Okay, so we'd come back here and then come down. We'd have these 2 targets here. So you've got a candidate here to again, assuming we hold. If we come up here, you got a very low risk entry there, right? Stop. You maybe give 707. You can see how fast it was moving here. So you could have you've likely got unfilled orders there. So if we're coming back here, this would be an area to be looking, and we're looking for a 3. So if I can get an A, a B into the pocket, and a C, well, I can hit that twice. Now, that's best case scenario in terms of looking at the swing structure here and the anticipating the ranges. There's nothing that says, right, this couldn't do that or more severe. Right? There's no market can do anything. But as we try and evaluate, it would be, you don't want to be completely reactionary. It's like, well, fuck, I have no idea what could happen, so I'm not even going to project anything. I'll just wait and see what happens and then react. That's not the way to be successful in the markets. We want to have plans. That's why I'm always talking about this in the context of a roadmap. Okay, well, if we're going this direction, what's the most likely route to get there? Oh, we're going the other direction? Oh, well, recalculating. How are we going to get there? Right, applying rules and guidelines. Right, assuming that's of interest to you. So, right, it's not for everybody. Right, it's harder, much harder. This is the hardest TA that, well, put Gann in there. But Elliott is hard, and it's subjective. Right? That's what people hate about it. I hate it. Oh, it's so subjective. 10 Elliottians, 10 different counts. Well, if that's your feeling, right, don't use it. I was talking about this last week when I was referencing my first mentor, which is Bob Miner. He was the one who told me Elliott second, fibs first, right? And that's kind of guided me through all of my experiences in the market, whether as a trader, a broker, educator. Fibs first, Elliott second, and only if it's helping, right? If it's confusing you, leave it. You're fine just with 50s and golden zones. All right, I'll make that point a little bit later. Okay, so there we go. That's the roadmap. This is our, if I could choose it, if I could choose the finish, this is exactly how it would come. Now I got to get this to play ball here. I got to get a 3 in here. I don't know. What have I got here? What have I got? Is that A? It's not quite clear enough. We'll look at it again. Do I have to go again? Not sure. But I'm looking up here saying, oh, that's, if I can get that here, low risk, right? So the thing I want you to remember, right? It's not, what if you get stopped out? Okay, next trade. Where is it a problem if you get stopped out? If you did something like that, you deserve to get wrecked. If you're doing something that's stupid, why would you ever do that? Right? So think about it. Okay, very low risk, right? Very reasonable probability that I get stopped out, or that you would get stopped out taking that trade, right? Your first assumption should always be, well, odds are I'm going to get stopped out. So if I'm stopped out, what kind of impact can I sustain there and then be ready to go again? Should I get a better trade? So it's going to be stop, winner, right? So you've heard me say this many, many times. What kills traders is not small losers. What kills traders is big, stupid movement like that, or no stop. Now, no, I say that now, no stop. If accumulating spot, that's a different story. But if you're trading with leverage, which is the attraction, we can trade with leverage in here. If you let something like that get away from you because you didn't want to get stopped out, well, there is that you almost need to get hurt so that you'll never do it again. Because as you've heard me say this many times as well, if you get away with it, oh, that's the worst case, right? Oh, I gave it plenty of room. I didn't even get stopped out, so you'll do it again, right? And then it's just a matter of when, not if, you'll get blown out. So take those small ones. Say, gosh, shit, nobody likes to get stopped out. I still, after 30 years, God damn it, I hate to get stopped out, right? It's just reality, right? You tee something up, you want it to go. But you can't let it ruin your day. It's got to be, okay, next trade. Psychologically, that's the name of the game. That's how you sustain. Okay, next trade. I didn't do anything stupid. I followed my game plan. I set it up perfectly. I put the trade on. I got stopped out. Okay, next trade. Where if it's, oh shit, I wasn't sure. I didn't know, man. I just gave it a lot of room here because I just wanted to be sure that it had room to hit my targets. That's another, you're not trading. You're just gambling. Right? You're better to go to Vegas. Free drinks, pretty girl to bring it to you. Okay, so we got all of that. This is what we'd like to see, right? Whether it cooperates or not remains to be seen. But that's a decent roadmap that would get us here. Then, right, what are we waiting for? If we're down here and we can get this all teed up just like this and we can get this to finish, we can get a 5, could be a diag, wouldn't matter, but I can get a 5 down here to finish. Well, boy, if I can get a 5 coming off of that, oh shit, let's get you out of there. If I can get a 5 coming off of that, boy, am I interested. Well, we're going to have to do it all over again. If I can get that, you don't even have to take that. But look at that. We're going from 14 to 19. Do you want to leave that on the table? All right. Maybe you want to participate where I started, right here. 3s and C's. Just a thought. Okay. We'll see how that plays. Okay. How am I doing? 24. Let's go over to Ethereum. See how we look here. Interesting, like so. This is a cleaner look at it here, where we have, I think, much stronger potential here for this to be a 4. Now, of course, it's still same thing, right? We could be done here. Right? You can get this, you can squeeze it in there. This actually plays a little better because there's a, the zigzag here. I think is a little cleaner than in Bitcoin. It's not only, is it really, right? I mean, they're both. You can do it both ways, right? So it's keeping it a bit elusive, but the shallowness here. Of this correction at the 34 and a note, of course, we're in log scale here, and we're this nice self-containment here within the Bollinger, within the median lines. Yeah, we got On this ripper, we got well out of it, but now we come back here and lower edge holding it. So you've got a contender here for this to be done. I think we've looked at this enough times. A, B. Okay, can we get her done here? Oh shit! Did I change this count? Did I? Shit, maybe I did. I got to relabel here. Oh, what did I do here? These have changed so many times. This would have to be, we'd have to do this WXY. If this is going to be, this is WX ABC of WXY here. WXY down here. Didn't get labeled. I could have been, I'm not sure what I was doing. Okay, now, so we have a candidate here. We can go 1, maybe A, B, C. It's deep, right? It's deep, right? Well, you can just look here, right? Okay, plenty of support there. No guarantee it holds, but you can understand why we would hold here. Oh, we draw it over. Right, same thing. A lot of business done here. So we're coming back down here, 1, 2. Well, can we get out of that? What would we be looking for? There's the 1, just standard ops here, into the 2. Can we get a 3 up here, median line? We'd have a set of median lines here that we could use here, deep, not a golden. I'd use the outside pivot right here. Got a nice, well, here's our high probability zone right here. Got a nice confluence zone up here to come out of this. So what are we looking for here? Right? We don't quite, doesn't look like we're quite done there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can we get something like that? All right, let's be prepared for it. So if it goes, well, of course, right, same issues, right? We got to get through all the resistance. Well, let's just zoom in there for a second. I think we've already hit the first one. Let's get this out of here, move you up. All right, you got it. These are the first things you got to do, right? So what surprise, surprise. All right, so you just have to know where this is, right? So boom, what do we do? Golden zone. Probably front run. How far did we get? Oh, it looks like it was twice actually. All right, 1. It run right. So why would you think anything other than the next opportunity here is short? Well, you wouldn't, right? So I mean, we're just seeing it, right? So here's 1. Here's the next one. Well. Right, if we get here, well, so how would you think that? Well, you'd have to be thinking, okay, wait a minute, 1, 2, could that be 3, 4, 5? I'm going to get a little diag coming out of here. Well, even if you did, well, okay, let's zoom in there. Let's go maybe an 8 hour here. So that might have you cautious, thinking, hey, wait a minute, I'm trying to get a 5 come out of there. I'm trying to get a, can I get a diag? Jesus, do we have one? Well, looks like that might not be long enough here. Let's come out of log here so we can get a true measure. Is that the 1? That the 2? Didn't make 100%. Right now, okay, right? 3 doesn't have to be the longest, just can't be the shortest. But if that's 1, 2, is it ABC? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks. Oh, I'm on an 8 hour. It looks like it's a better looking ABC. So I got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So it looks like I got a pretty good 1, 2. Well, what are the options, right? So as we just sit here, right, just throw a little Elliott. So your first thought is go 3. But wait a minute. Why? Right. Well, here, let's finish that. Get them off my mouse. If this is a 1, 2, I need a 1, 2 in that 3. Why not consider this? Let's take that down a degree. Put it in a different color so we keep track of things. Okay, 1, 2. Well, I don't want this to be 3 for a number of reasons. 1, it's shorter than, pardon me. First off, it's shorter than the proposed 1 wave. Second, I've already overlapped that proposed wave 1, which I'd prefer to come out of here with an impulse if I can get it. And I'd like to at least to have the third get a little bit further. So what's the next thought? Oh, well, if it's not 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right, with a bigger target up here for the 3, or maybe not, right? Maybe we're just going to come right into that golden zone. We don't know yet, right? We got to see what comes off of it, because this could just as easily want ABC. We're going to get a short C relative to the A. And we're, okay, when we start, we got a little, shit, do we have one? Yeah, we do. So you could have a potential leading diag down, right? Could be ABC. Could be 1, 2. Doesn't really look like it, right? So what do you have there? Well, shit, let's go to the 1 hour. What do we really have there? Do we have anything that we could lean into? I'm not so sure we do. Looks like you probably got a pretty good 5 here. ABC. Actually, I might do that differently. Now that I look at that on a smaller time frame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This 5 here is pretty solid, so that makes me think A, B. It's not great either way, right? So 1, 2, 3, 1. This is pretty solid, right? So you got to get this in there somehow, right? There's a good looking 5. Okay, so A, B keeps you guessing, right? It's not clear. You'd have to go A, B, C to get that as a B, and then come down for the 5. Okay, well, that might open up a few things here. So number one, it would mean if indeed it's A, B, C, then we haven't overlapped here as the potential. Well, let's just check that. That could change things around here. Let's just, out of curiosity, did we get there? We did, right? So now this is becomes a kind of a wild card. Could be the 1, 2. Could be 1, 2, 1, 2. Because you didn't get your 1, 6, 1, 8. You didn't get a great looking 3. Certainly could be 1, 2, 1, 2. Don't know yet, right? That's the bitch of it. We don't. So I've got a pretty good 3 here to correct this. So the 1 A, B, C here. Oh, it looks like a zigzag. Can we get that? Yeah, it looks like you can get a zigzag. So we'd go A, B, C. This looks like a 1. All right. So are we overthinking it? Let's get it out of here. Get you out of there just for the time being. Double top. Well, something is here, and this is when I was, let's go to 8 hour here, I think it was. All right, so recognizing here, so the point I was trying to get to is all of this software resistance, right? All this algo resistance has got to be cleared. And right now we're in a sequence. So you don't want to assume it's going to break. I promise you, if you assume it's going to break, I can virtually guarantee you it'll hold. Don't make that assumption, right? Assume it's going to hold, right? That would be the safer bet, right? So we got 1, 2, 3. Why would you assume it's going to break? Oh, well, because if it held 3 times, well, it's certainly going to break on the 4th. Look at all the unfilled. Well, we got one of them's unfilled target. Pardon me. One of them's filled. The rest, could be a front run. I got 2 others that are unfilled, and I got a big one down here at the 50 that's unfilled, and that's this one from the proposed pivot here. That would bring us back down to the 50. Might bring the 4 over here. So right now you're just dealing with this is going to be a hurdle. Not just there's the sentiment, right, which is now god awful, with possible exception of Bitcoin, although plenty of Bitcoin haters. Okay, so 1, 2. That 3 is going to have to do the heavy lifting to break all of that, right? And this is a secondary pivot, so you got to go to this one, then you got to go to this one. So it's got to get through that. That's a heavy lift, right? To get through all of that resistance, all of that sell side resistance. If it doesn't do it, right? I mean, eventually. So don't think, oh, it'll never get through that. It has to get through it, or we go sideways forever. We're contained between, which often, right, you'll see that on smaller time frames, you just get stuck in a pocket between 2 golden zones, 2 competing algos. Here, for this to even get a 3, we got to break 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sell side algos, right? We had to do it on the way up, got to do it on the way down. Same thing, right? It's just because they're there doesn't mean they don't break. But you have to know what it did last, right? Or you'll buy right into it. You're just blind. You're blind if you don't know where it is. Most people have no idea what it is or where it is, right? That's why it's such a focal point of every video I've ever done. Because I'm hoping, well, somebody who didn't know now knows, and those that did know. The other thing that happened, it's funny. I can show this to you 10,000 times, and then people will kind of forget about it. Oh, shit, I forgot to check. Oh, was the golden zone right there? Oh, shit, I bought right into it. Easy to forget, right? That's why it's the first thing. There's not a chart I haven't pulled up where it's not the first thing we do. Where's Waldo? What did it do last? Do you see why you would want to do that? Hopefully, I don't mean to be condescending when I say that. I'm genuinely hoping that you see, okay, I get this. Wow, I got to really pay attention to where that is, or you will buy right into it, right? I've done it. Until someone teaches you this or shows it to you, I promise you've done it. You just didn't know you did it. Okay, so we got a pretty good look there. This, just showing this. Where is it over here? Yeah, here, this is a pretty good look at ETH, right? And this potential count here on a smaller time frame. So this is a 2 hour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've looked at that for when we put that in August, right? 6 months of this correction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into an A, B, C into a B. Now I got a candidate here for a C to be done, right? It ain't pretty, no question, right? We looked at this last week. So we through that correction, it would be A, B, C. Right, so if you look out here, that's this. ABC coming in. Okay, well now can we get out of here? Well, that's where we're kind of running into this roadblock here, which made me think, why? There's not a, here, let me get that off there. It's not an algo. It's not an algo. Get on there. Right, we're not there yet. And while there's secondary pivots, okay, maybe, right? There's nothing right there or right there to pull from. Would say, oh, I see why it is, or why it can't get through. Let's use the dominant, right? This is the safest thing to use because we know without any question that the algo is going to be there, right? Dominant to dominant. So we know it's going to be there. So, but why? Why can't we get through there? Oops, I'm going to do that. Oh, hang on a second here. Here we go. Hit the space bar. I guess that, if you hit the space bar, I guess it goes forward one chart. So how did I get this little zone here? Because I'm looking at that going, why can't we get through that? What's holding it up? And all I did was just grab that fixed range and say, well, is it something to do with volume profile? And look where the POC is. Now, the POC is just means this, we have a lot of volume here. So there's potential for size to be, you make the case here, the size can be buried into the trading here because we've got so much volume here. But it's just a natural point of resistance. If we gets through, it'll be a natural point of support. If we can get through and then come back down, well, that would make sense. You could see how, oh, okay, well, now we've got traders here that caught this. Now, do we come out of here? Well, it remains to be seen, but that's kind of when you're looking like, where is it? Where is it? Because we did all this. We know these are all the same, right? So it's just all. There should be no chart ever, and I'm very serious when I say this. There should never be a chart. I don't care if you're looking at a 10-second or a yearly that you don't. That's not the first thing you do. What did the algo do last, right? I'm saying that to help you, not to promote anything. I didn't discover it, right? Many times I've told you this is David Halsey's contribution to technical analysis. He's the one who found it and then wrote about it. I'm trying to help you, right? So that's why I feature it. So there we go, right there. That kind of makes some sense here as to why we're kind of struggling here. Now let me wrap up. 38. Okay, just to stay consistent with that same theme, just to show you, right, just that it doesn't matter what asset we're talking about. It does not matter at all. Right? This algo is everywhere. So of all the places that you might think it, the NASDAQ, probably reasonable place to anticipate this. Well, let's just take a look at the NASDAQ. This is an 8-hour chart where you can really see it on these higher time frames. I mean, this is how this algorithm works and why you hear me say things like they don't care if they get stopped out because eventually they'll get on the right side of it. This is here. This is important. If you don't understand this, I'm sorry to say it this way, but you need to. This is how this algorithm works, and if you don't know this, I'm going to suggest that you need to, because look, there's not a significant pivot here that's not tied to this algorithm, and this is up and down. It's the exact same thing, and I'm on an 8-hour. If I started going down to 6-hour, 4-hour, 2-hour, 1 hour, I'd find 100 more, if not more than 100. It's just a series. It stays and stays and stays until all of a sudden, right, we have failure up here. So they do the same thing, right? You stay with it, right? And we're just trying to stick it to trade behind them, right? They move the market. We're just trying to say, what did it do last? So maybe we can get in behind it. And so that we don't do something like this and go, oh, look, it's really rolling, and buy right into it. I promise you've done it. You just didn't know you did it. So we just start looking here on the way up. I just grabbed the pivots that I could see. So here's a swing, 50. Here's the little micro swing, golden zone. Up we go, golden zone. Big one up here, I get plenty. I promise you there's 25 of them in there. Back to a 50. Up here we get target. So every one of these pivots has gotten its target. Here I get one last one here. Well, I don't know, it doesn't look like there's enough there, but you can see the clear 5, right, as we finish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now here, all of a sudden, I don't get a new high. I get a pivot up here. I start down. Exactly the same thing happens. Swing. I'm in the pocket here. Get to target. Come down. Oh, shit. Where am I? There's that one. Now we swing down here, golden zone. Swing down in the pocket between the 50 and the golden zone, down. Hits target, come back, golden zone. Target is not met here. All right, so there's a good example of one that breaks. So on this degree, this is looking for this target here, doesn't make it, comes back. Now remember, they are stopped out on the other side here. Right, so this one, after 1, 2, 3, 4, they do get stopped out. Trust me, they don't care, because what happens next? Right? I got one at a higher time frame. Right. I mean, you think they made some money here? Right there. There's the target. Damn near straight line. All right. So we get this one, and we got another little one in the middle here. Down into a 50. Does not get target. This also gets stopped out. Right. So just don't think that they don't get stopped out. See, we're going after this target here. It doesn't get it. Now it comes all the way back. There's the 65. They're on the other side. Well, do they care? No, because what do they get right here? Just a bigger one, right? Now that is, well, there's micros in here as well, including what's just happened here. That's got a target down here, unfilled. Don't assume that won't get filled. But this will be interesting, right, if this breaks. So this, we've got slight little wick here, but we don't have a close above here, so these are still valid. That looks like the resistant, well, that is the resistance in the NQ right now. This is the Powell of last week, and then here's the chop. We're just dealing with it as we deal with this week. Now here's 1, 2, and you see them just over again, right? It's just this is how the market works, right? This is like X-ray vision into how price moves, right? It's not why it moves, it's how it moves, right? They don't care why it's going up or why it's going down. Zero. There is no one to care. It's just code, right? So who cares, right? All they care about what's the PL now at the end of the year. There's one back here. I'm between the 50 and the golden zone. Target. Now this one swinging all back here. Boom, boom. Why can't it go? Why can't it get through? Oh, well, here we go. Well, there's your answer. So I just mentioned that again. I could bring up a 1 minute. You'd see the exact same thing. It has to be first thing. I don't care. Elliott, nothing else. Not even a 200. What's the first thing? I don't care if you're looking at a 1 minute or a 1 month. First thing, what did the algo do last? Where is it? Where is it? What did it do last? If you focus on that, I promise you your results will improve. Okay, guys. And the only other thing, just to reemphasize, is if you focus on this and make this a cornerstone of your trading, look at the risk you're taking on each one of these trades. Right, look how small it is. Well, of course, the golden zone we prefer because it's less risk. Look at the risk to reward on these trades. You might consider why they like this. Look at the risk reward, particularly on the golden zones. It's always going to be 4 to 1, 5 to 1, 6 to 1, 7 to 1, 10 to 1. Just out of curiosity. What do we get here? And then I'll wrap this up here. You're in the golden zone. Stop on the other side. Give it a little. 23 to 1. NQ. Right? You don't have to take that in the NQ. That'd be a hell of a. You trade that in options and have a very nice payday, right? It'd probably make your whole year. Okay, guys, that's all I got. We'll be back till, let's see, Monday, Tuesday, so members will know this here. We're putting heavy focus on equity options, so it'll be more training and more content here. Maybe some trades that have gone on over the last day or two. We'll update a few things. So heavy emphasis on the non-crypto focus coming over to stock options, which is based off of polling of members, not my choice. Right? We gave them a couple of things that they wanted to focus on. Equity options and just option trading as a broad category blew away the other choices here. So that's where we're focused on, and we'll start getting some of that on YouTube. But right now, that's just for members only, as we're kind of going through the training process. Okay, with that, I'll wish you guys a good afternoon and good trading, and we'll be back next week. Take it easy, guys.